Everyone, I'm Kate and we're here with But Why Though, and today we're talking about one of the things we saw at Summer Game Fest, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Here's Matt,
Hello.
and yeah, we saw an hour of gameplay, pretty much the prologue of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. We got to see a little bit of the choice system, we got to see a little bit of the inner workings of the game as well. Matt, what were your expectations for this? It was hands off, I should specify. What were your expectations for this?
Honestly, I'm not sure. It's been a long while since we got a last Dragon Age. Obviously, this game's already gone through a name change, and I'm sure a bunch of other changes. We saw the trailer beforehand, that kind of like a
The
hero
trailer did
shoot.
not do it justice.
Yeah, it was a little confusing at first, but it kind of got to the point. So yeah, I was actually not entirely sure what we were gonna get, to be honest.
Yeah, it was one of those where I'm a very big BioWare fan. I've never been the largest Dragon Age fan, but I've been craving a BioWare game again. That their specific way of storytelling. But I also kind of, as you said, I didn't know what to expect. When you're this long away from a franchise, it is kind of weird to jump back in. And I do think what we saw, I'm really interested. So to kind of start things off, this takes place 9 years after the last Dragon Age. Everybody's been aged up in this piece. The game is like dealing with the in real time thing, which I think is kind of nice. I prefer it when games recognize that it's been a very long time. Um, because it allows you to build it into the story, to build exposition into the story that doesn't feel like you're getting hit over the head with it. And I think that that kind of has it going for it. Just to kind of read the official story description, in Dragon Age, the Veilguard, Solus, the Dread Wolf and Elven Trickster, god of legend, wants to tear down the veil that separates Thetis from the world of demons, restoring his people's immortality and glory, even at the cost of countless lives. But his ritual goes awry, and his worst fears are realized as two of his most ancient and powerful adversaries are released. They seek only to finish what they started a millennia ago, the complete and utter domination of our world. Rook's journey to stop these two powerful deities will span across all of Thetis, of bustling cities, lush tropics, boreal forests, fettered swamps, and the deepest depths, but be wary of the evil forces along the way, like the Darkspawn, Venatori cultists, and demons of the Fade. Um, what are your thoughts on what we saw, the direction everything's going? How you feeling?
Uh, Half optimistic. Let's go with that. I for one, I do think because we saw a prologue, that obviously means it was very on the rails. We
Mhm.
kind of got, um, you know, probably more cinematics and gameplay, for the most part. But we did get to see, quite a stuff. But we didn't get to see the integral parts. We know that there's going to be three specializations. They're going to have three classes. You can choose things. So and there clearly is going to be some conversation, dialogues, and choices. And everything else. I don't think it looks bad, but I think for me right now, from what we saw, I think I need more information to see things as well because it felt very superficial. Um, and so I, I don't know because I wasn't blown away at all. To be honest, can be completely honest, to me, what my the saddest takeaway for me was I felt like if Dragon Age wasn't in the name of this game, this would be any other basic high fantasy RPG that may or may not hit. But I think Dragon Age is the selling point, and I don't want to say that's what it's going to end up being, but that was my takeaway of what I got from what I've seen. There can definitely be more, and I'm sure Dragon Age people, they're going to love it. Awesome. And I mean, I do enjoy Dragon Age, but I feel like from what I saw, the Dragon Age part was hindering the more focal point of why this is. Yeah.
It's it's missing the spark. I feel like it's missing a spark. Um, with an hour of playtime, like that's not everything. I think what I didn't like the most is what you kind of mentioned, which after talking about it, like after we watched the first hour, I kind of understand. I had a lot of issue with how many times we went into cutscenes versus actually running through the world, running and fighting. I think that like the pie chart of cutscene to combat to world's interaction as a player is like 70% cutscene, which like I do think is beautiful. Like I think what they are running this on from the development side, from the animation side, from the art side is probably some of the most beautiful world and character development that we've seen. I think especially when it comes to the character creator. They're using strand technology on the hair, which impacts the way the hair looks and moves. And I think that that's really cool, not only from being able to represent, not only be representative of a lot of Black hairstyles, but it also does just make games look better when you have like nicely animated hair, because you will see like this extreme high fidelity, hyper realistic image, and then it's just like Lego hair, no matter like where you go. And I think that the strand tech that BioWare is using for this is really, really beautiful. And I kind of think it depends, creates more depth in that immersive quality of the storytelling and especially the cinematics. I think the reactive responses to your choices in the cinematics is also really good. And
Yes.
I think that's where BioWare really nails it. But I don't like playing cinematic games. Like I'm not there to watch a movie.
So I'm not hung up on that like you are, because like I said, this
Yeah.
is a prologue, and if you played any prologue, that is how prologues are. And
Yeah.
so I'm definitely not hung up on that part. I will say the because obviously we had the trailer and then we saw everything and it looks great. And this is kind of like with all games of like, I don't know if the lighting type different. I don't know if they've just gotten so realistic that people realize that, hey, some people are just people and they're very bland looking and whatever else. I don't know. Or maybe skins aren't great. I don't know. But like it sucks because I think it looks great. Also, it just kind of looks funky sometimes. And it's not even bad. It's just I feel like the way the lighting and everything works and the technology we're doing, it feels like in that weird of like this isn't real, but it's as close as we can, but then it makes the contrast all
It's
look
okay.
weird.
Look, let's be real. Unless you are a documentary film or you're going for something really edgy, you don't need to be using natural lighting. Don't use natural lighting.
Yeah, it's
Get your
just
person a camera, a light. Get a reflected on there. Like nobody looks good in absolute darkness.
yeah, I
Like
know, and I guess
nobody
that's my
does.
thing. And I feel bad because I'm like, because you see it in different parts, like, oh wow, this
Yeah.
looks gorgeous, and then you see this other part, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, and it's like
And
these
it's not
other
even like
things.
the animation's bad or anything. It's just the light, like
No.
it's really just lighting to me.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice because in the character creator, you can look at the character you create in three different lighting schemes, not just the character creator lighting schemes. And it feels like they were trying to address that. But then in that opening first hour of the game, I thought that it's really cool that a lot of games are demoing with a black protagonist. I also think it highlights your rendering team's issues around lighting if that protagonist is not lit well, and that happened a lot.
I
And
don't even think
I
that was like the
I
Rook
thought
that
it
we
I
had.
I
I
thought
didn't think the
Rook
Rook
didn't
was
look
the.
that good.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't think Rook was even the worst of problems. I think there's even
That's
just some
fair.
of the companions in there just did that the lighting overall, and like they're not even looking like the Rook, and it's just kind of like a, I don't know. It's
It was they still have time to finesse it, and I think they will. I think it's weird. I'm like excited for the story, but I want to be excited for gameplay. I do think that it was really cool. What is it? The
wheel.
wheel,
Yes.
the ability wheel that pops
Ability
up.
wheel. I think the
That
ability
was
wheel
really
is
cool.
no, I think it's most intriguing. We've obviously seen some for people out there, they've probably seen some images and everything, but no, having the ability wheel to be able to stop time and kind of you're doing an action-based game with allows you to stop and then do some tactical things. It's pretty nice. I think it worked and it flowed very well. I like obviously Dragon Age itself has always been able to have some of this where you choose some of your partners and kind of work. Obviously, you're not going to play as your
Yeah.
companions, but being able to have some control, set the battlefield, have some kind of prep planning of how you're going to like, either shoot your arrow or shoot your wand or whatever you're doing, or
Yeah.
abilities and situational and positional and stuff. I think was great. I think the combat to me was the most intriguing part. I thought it was very well done. It looks like it's cool to be in the stop prep set up, kind of almost
Hmm.
like an opener for me of
Yeah.
like you set your opener and before you go and everything and then kind of move into like the more free flow combat, I thought went very well, especially depending on the size of the battle. Um,
Yeah.
I think the story, like you said, I think some of the dialogue stuff is good. I think the problem was I don't know,
The
we have to.
Solus and Varric stuff I thought was really well done. Like you could feel the weight between them, which is what I like story wise.
I mean, obviously you have returning characters, as you mentioned,
Yes.
and what they've announced and everything else. But I think this game's gonna be interesting, and I don't know how it's gonna play out. I think there was a lot to. I think there's a good optimistic view of what can happen, and I think in how this game could turn out. I also
Yeah.
felt there was other parts that I just not that I wasn't blown away. I just kind of like, wow, I could remove the name Dragon Age, and I don't know what the difference would be.
Yeah, and I think that that's like one of the weird things is I think that like there is the things that I would praise it on is I think that ability wheel. They highlighted an accessibility function that they have that allows you to see the trail of where a ranged attack is going to come at you.
Hmm.
And what's interesting is I don't think that that did so much as like I don't need that from an accessibility standpoint. But what I think it did very well and very smartly, including it in the demo play, was it showed you how important positioning is
Yes.
in everything. And I thought that that was really fantastic because it showed that their combat system is fairly complex when it comes to that. And you can't just brute force your way through stuff. I say as a brute force player,
No, I like I said, the
like
combat
that
to
was
me was probably the
really
best part we
cool.
saw.
And I think that that's what I was frustrated about because I wanted to see more combat. But I guess you are right. It's a prologue. It's setting up. We've been gone for 9 years. Like
Yeah, no, I
that's
didn't have a
what we
problem with
get.
all that other stuff. Like I said, for me, we didn't. Obviously, we know they have some specializations. We don't know exactly how many
Yeah.
skills, what the depth is there. Um, and then obviously how we meet more things. And I think there's just a lot of what we just don't
Yeah.
know. But no, I think yeah, I think if you like Dragon Age, I think probably people are gonna instantly buy this. They're
Yeah.
gonna probably love it because it's Dragon Age. Yay. Not to be a bad way of like Dragon Age is bad, but I mean that is kind of how we've got into honestly society dealing with IP/franchises of we
Yeah.
know what we like, we're gonna get it regardless of stuff. I've seen Pokemon these days.
Oh, yeah. No, also if they announce a new Mass Effect, like I'm immediately gonna like I'm gonna pre-order
Right.
it. I'm gonna start freaking out.
Yeah, yeah.
We saw how that
Um,
happened with Andromeda.
yeah, it doesn't mean, and I think it'll still do well. I think there's a lot to. I think from what we saw, I think there's a lot more we need to see. But overall, I went away optimistic that this game can be pretty good.
Yeah. I think like I am optimistic. I think that there was the when we were in the demo, they talked about the three core designs was to be who you want. And I think that they nailed that with the character creator. Like there's body
Yes.
sliders, there's an amazing amount of skin tones, which is awesome because they understand that there are red undertones and blue undertones, and all of it looks different, which I'm very appreciative
I
of.
mean, even then, they even backstories they added your
Back
choices and everything.
but that's what I was gonna say. Like
Oh,
yeah, so like you have all of those pieces, you're able to like do you just totally made me lose my train of thought. The second piece was create a world worth saving. So I think they nailed the character development or the character creation. There was more I was gonna say on that. I just lost my train of thought. The second piece, I think they did a for to make a world worth saving that like floating castle area that I am very sad that I forgot the name for. Like the environmental design is breathtaking. Like the verticality of it, the layers to it, it's amazing. And then inspire a team of unforgettable heroes, which I think is one of the things that's going to be very important to whether this succeeds or fails is how because we they told us that we're going to get really in-depth backstories for all of the companions and how you relate to them in those situations, and they're kind of going to be on their own and have like their own like grander story with it or their own important and intimate story within a grander one. For that third bullet point, which was inspire a team of unforgettable heroes, and I'm hoping that it nails that. I think the biggest issue that this game has is that it I don't think that every game needs to be compared to Baldur's Gate 3. I do not think we need to do that. You can eat both things. You don't have to pick one piece of cake. However, I think that because it is the closest of the games that have come out that is in that same genre, using those same inspirations, I think that this has an uphill battle is going to be consistently compared to Baldur's Gate. And I don't think that should happen because I think that you should just, play new games whether it's from an existing IP or not. But I think that that's where everybody's mind is going to go. And so I think that they have to excel on things in a different way. I don't like Baldur's Gate 3 combat, so I have not played it. It doesn't have that issue with me. I do like Dragon Age combat, so I'm hoping that there is at least some of that audience, not audience growth, but like there is a separate audience because combat playstyle is very different. But yeah, I'm optimistic. Character designs are dope. That trailer was horrible though. Like don't like they that was a look how they murdered my boy moment because like what
No, I
they
feel bad
showed us
because
was so much better.
yeah, no, what we saw, to be completely honest, like that, what we saw was so much better than that trailer, and I feel bad for both the
Mm-hmm.
trailer people and just general what we, even the, like I said, the demo people of like, wow, um, those poor people in that trailer definitely did not set you up for
Yeah.
anything. No, I don't disagree. I'd be interested to see what we get with these companion arcs, how they work. I know sometimes some of the things with Bioware that I've kind of turned off with is I do think sometimes this ends up being dialogue simulator, and
That's
that can
fair.
be, has been a turn off for me in the past. It does seem like this looks like a little more balance from what we saw, so that'll be interesting. Like I said, I guess like I said, we only got an hour. There's a lot we don't know. There's very little we do know. What I do know is I think it's intriguing and worth checking out. And thing, and you know, if you like Dragon Age, I think you can be happy. What I don't know is I don't. There's a lot, I guess.
Yeah. No. I completely agree. Um, like every BioWare game, I'm excited to make my character. Unlike every BioWare game, I don't know how many hours or replays I'll put into it. And I think that that's gonna hinge on everything else that you said. Like it's the stuff that we haven't seen yet. I think it's a good first showing though. I think it's a really good first showing. Um, for a team that has been through a lot, it is a very good first showing because that team has been through a lot of stuff. So
I just always
um
keep thinking about that damn quote from like Lord of the Rings when the guy was like, "How did y'all get this?" When he busts up in the door, how did it look so great? And they're like, "Could we put lights there?"
yes, no,
It's like,
that's
no,
what
it's
it
not
is.
about whether it's real, it's whether it looks good. Come
Yeah.
on now.
No, I'm very tired of realistic lighting because it, it
Yeah,
it
because it's
it
so
never
dark,
works.
regardless of your skin color. It's just so dark and you can't
Yeah.
see, and it either muddles things,
Yeah.
either your
It
skin or
hurts
other.
everybody here.
And then you look like, and then all your features, and then even then with your features, like your facial features and everything just looks off and just all of a sudden cartoonishy sometimes and sometimes not. It's just, oh.
Get a
And
life.
they're not the only one, so I don't want to say that this is like bad for
Oh
just
no,
like
this was not the only game I saw at Summer Game Fest
yeah,
that
no, there's
struggled
been, it
from
seems
that
to be an
problem.
almost like an industry wide. We want to do this, and I'm like, please stop. Just make your characters look good and have some lighting.
Yeah.
Even with TV, they keep doing the same thing. I don't know. I know it's going way off the rail, but that's the
It's
biggest,
very
one of the
off the
big things
rails.
I got from this game was please better lighting and whatever we're doing. I take the clipping over not being able to see things, but it's real.
Anyway, I'm optimistic. Matt, you're optimistic.
I'm cautiously optimistic
Cautiously optimistic.
because I played another game that I pretty much probably, if you switch the name titles, you couldn't tell me there was a difference this past week.
That's fair. Just not this one. Anyway, Matt, where can people find you?
Um, you can find me right here. See my face? I have lighting. I have a purple background. It's all lit up. I don't know. Anyway, so you can find my writing and everything we do about whythough.net. And obviously the YouTubes, the interwebs, and then I guess I'm technically on whatever social media platform crap slop we have, which is at DATTM 118 or 18, whatever.
And you can find me at Omemethrandir on all of our social media as well as all the writing at bowhytho.net. We have a bunch of Summer Game Fest coverage coming. Okay, also, has there always not been an S?
And
Has it always
games?
been Summer Game Fest or is it Summer
Yes.
Games Fest?
From my understanding, it's always Summer Game Fest.
Summer Game Fest. Okay. Anyway, we have SGF coverage coming. You should look out for it at bowhytho.net and in, I guess, the playlist of this video thing, which will be for video games.